Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So, not much, in my opinion, to report about Hairbrain and Megman, except that the cooking show apparently in Australia has aired. And this is an image, not photoshopped, not AI, an actual image from the show with TRG posted on Twitter. That says you always hear about these stories of shape-shifting, people shape-shifting. And I think this was a moment. There's something truly demonic going on here. And no, this is not AI. Yeah, she's demonically possessed, without a doubt. She's a demon, for sure. I mean, there's so many evil pictures, but this is one of the, the evil seems to be coming out more and more these days. Have you noticed that, or is it just me? It just seems like the veneer is off. They're in the beginning, we could see how evil they were right from the beginning, those who watched closely, but they still had this, people still thought, oh, they're, a young couple in love, but that's all gone now. It's been almost 10 years. People know what's what. They know how hideous they are and evil they are. I mean, you got the vein pot throbbing at the demonically possessed eyes. The black eyes, you hear about that a lot. People say they're seeing people with black eyes. I mean, she literally has black eyes here. People are demonically possessed. Yeah. The eyes look black. And of course, she has the big mouth like a man, big teeth, very wide around. Anyways, so that's the latest demonic picture of the demon, the evil demon possessed thing that it is. And then you have this now again with the eating, right? So Megman knows that she's been criticized. She's been criticized repeatedly for sticking the tongue out while eating. And I'm sure you've seen multiple videos out there displaying that. And even knowing that, Megman continues to do it. And the tongue is a satanic gesture. It's actually from a verse in the Bible about how Satan sticks his tongue out at God or whatever, something along those lines. And so that's why Meghan does it, in my opinion. Always doing that. And of course, doing it on TV or, on the cameras to be distributed is, it's just like the same reason. It's the same idea as when they do their satanic hand gestures in the mainstream media. It empowers them and their satanic powers. And I think they also have to do it. If you're demonically possessed, it's like you have to give your salute to your fellow Satanists. So, so that's why I believe, she does this. This is one of the ways the Satanists, she also does the Baphomet or the V sign with her hands. So yeah, that's what she's doing there, I believe, and she continues. And it's obvious by the fact that she continues to do it on camera. Every single time, every time there's a video camera on her eating, she always does it. She sticks the tongue all the way out in an obvious satanic gesture. So now on to other news. Watching this trial started on Monday, July 27th, 2026 was the start of the trial. Well, I mean, the jury selection started last week, but this is the first day when they're bringing out the testimony and interviewing or bringing people on the stand. And here we are, the very first day they brought Lindsay Clancy's husband, Patrick Clancy, on the stand. So a very tense moment. I'm convinced this is going to become a movie. Hollywood is already writing the script on this one, or they're just watching it and writing down the script. But so a very tense moment. You got the husband sitting there on the stand, and she's getting emotional, a little bit in her seat. They didn't talk to each other. He just answered questions with the prosecutor, and he'll be back on the stand on Wednesday. They're taking Tuesday off. But I wanted to see, how it is, knowing that he's remarried and his new wife was no doubt in the audience in the courtroom. I wouldn't doubt. I didn't see her there, but the cameras didn't show the whole room from what I was watching. But I wanted to see. I just want to take a look at how she, seeing her husband again, and how it went for her and how it went for him. How really. and who had it worse, basically. I mean, he's again remarried already and has a new child. Either he already has a new baby or a new baby on the way. A lot of people, two jurors that they selected for this trial dropped out because they couldn't handle how evil this was. It was like too much for them. For a lot of people, they have difficulty listening to this trial, and obviously understandable. But maybe it's because I've been dealing with this evil for almost 10 years. Harry and Meghan, everything they've been doing to destroy the Western world and try to bring us into the new world order, new world disorder of of China's Communist Party slavery system. It doesn't bother me so much. I'm like, I'm like, this is easier for me to stomach than those two Satanists that lie in court, threaten people to try to make a court case like Harry did with Gavin Burrows, and Meghan and Harry breaking a dog's two legs and posting a picture on Instagram of this dog that's obviously terrorized by her and bullying people to the point of traumatizing them to years of therapy. I mean, there's so much evil Harry and Meghan just skate away from. They've both lied in court. They've lied on TV and interviews everywhere. And they get away with it. They keep getting fake awards. They keep getting appearances on television shows, cooking shows, and whatnot. They keep getting put on a pedestal while they commit these crimes against humanity that they're involved in. And of course, Prince Harry, the World Health Organization as well. You can't forget that little collaboration, among many other things that I believe going on with the terrorist or Antifa terrorist organization going on. And so it's just Harry and Meghan, they're so evil and gotten away with so much evil and destroying, deplatforming people, basically driving people to their graves. Like, as you know, Yankee Wally and Ashley. So these two at least we're getting some justice. So this is a lot more palpable to me. I'm like, yes, it's horrible what they did, but Harry and Meghan, in my opinion, have done worse, and they get away with it and continue to get away with it. And the courts are all crooked. Harry and Meghan apparently can do whatever they want, lie, threaten people in court, and they're never held accountable for anything. So that's why I say I have no problem watching this. I'm like, please. Yeah. So there you have it. So that's why I want to look at this. And also I just find this right now more interesting than, Harry and Meghan. So let's take a look at how she handled it, what she was thinking in court, seeing him, and how he handled it, seeing her, what was, going on in their minds and how they felt and whatnot. Was there regrets? Was there hoping to just turn back time? I'm sure. Let's find out. How was it? Now, Lindsay Clancy has been, she had the pretrial hearings and then the trial. So she's been, even though she was a little emotional, she's very stoic. And many have said it's because, she is currently residing in a mental institution, and they're no doubt drugging her heavily, sedating her. And there's two nurses in court to keep an eye on her in case she has, a breakdown or something. So she's very closely monitored still. No doubt heavily medicated, I wouldn't doubt. So, yeah. But she still had some. When she saw Patrick, you could see her face. She was constantly, I don't know what you want to call it, like her jaw. She was like moving her jaw a lot, and like she looked very sad. You can see her expression a little bit. It was only her side view you could see, but you could see she was upset looking over at him. It was very emotional. You can see the emotion, but very subtle. She kept it together. Like she doesn't either can't or doesn't want to, start crying there. A little bit of tears, I think, with the tissue, but not really not over dramatic or anything. And he pretty much ignored her. I mean, he didn't look over at her, but it didn't seem like, there was any kind of communication or anything going on between them of any kind. Um, yeah, so let's take a look at this. How did she feel seeing him in court after all this time? They haven't spoken in years. Not that many years, though. The murders happened in 2023, so it was like 3 years ago. And, yeah. Let's see. How did she feel seeing him? You know, and to hear him in court, to see him, like she hasn't heard or seen him in so long, and now she's here, you know, seeing him in person for the first time in years. It's going to be quite jarring, right? Especially with everything else going on, and he's on the stand and for, you know, a long time answering question after question after question, and you know she's just dying to say something to him, or you know, or say something, right? So I'm sure on some level in her mind he's still her husband, right? So, and vice versa. So let's see here. How did she feel seeing him? How was it? How difficult? That must have been very difficult. I just, you know, the whole thing is difficult. You know, obviously, but that was a very, probably the most harshest, most difficult moment. I would imagine it was the most difficult moment for her to face him, right? And I was surprised he was there. He was the very first witness on the first day. I was like, wow, you know, they didn't play around. They just put him right on the stand. He's the biggest witness, obviously, because he was, you know, there the night it happened, and spent the day with her. So, yeah, let's take a look. See here. Probably shouldn't have a breakdown or something. Some people speculated that after the trial, she probably had a breakdown. Like she held it together while she was on camera, but then afterwards, probably having a crying fit later or something. Yeah, that evening, you know, this evening actually is. Let's see. What was the worst thing about it for her seeing him? Because I think she wanted to stay together with him. She's like, I still love you. She called him and she's like, I still love you, you know. But he was done. He was done. All right, let's see. Lindsay Clancy, how did she handle seeing her husband, her ex-husband, Patrick, in court today? First day. Find out. Let's see what the cards show. The general situation. Wow, 9 of Cups. Very, very emotional here. Yes. Very happy. She was happy to see him. Obviously, it had been a long time. And, you know, he was pretty much the only one she wanted to see. She has the support of her parents around her and her siblings. Her parents have been in court, all the hearings and whatnot. So this was like a wish come true. She's like, oh, he's here finally, right? The only one she wanted to see. Oh, but then you got the Ace of Swords. Just utter defeat and destruction. Just like, boom, reversed. So on the one hand, she was feeling very hopeful that maybe, you know, a chance that she could, you know, I'm sure I get the feeling here, okay, very emotional, very hopeful that in seeing him again, but at the same time, the way it went down was utter defeat, annihilation, death here. Like it was the death of all our happiness there. And so it was the happiest moment and the worst moment for her. And she had hopes. I think she had hopes that maybe, I'm sure she had hopes that maybe if they just saw each other again and talked it over and tried to work it out, you know. And she did try to explain to him what happened. And he has, said that he believes she's innocent and that she's a victim here. So she still retains some hope that maybe he'll come back. But after being in court, after watching him testify, and the fact that he ignored her and didn't even talk to her, really devastated her. She knew like it's over, and it was devastating. And it was basically a big stab in the heart, very publicly. Wow, she wanted to die, basically. And then the bottom of it all, I've got the tower. Yeah, so it did not go as expected for her. Quite as, and it was, and maybe she was as surprised as we were that he was the first one up, and just boom. Like, I think that it was shocking for everyone. Nobody knew who was going to be first. It's like, I assume she knew, but it was still very shocking for her. It didn't, seeing him again, very shocking. Because she hadn't seen him in so long, and she's been for the past 3 years. She's been in that mental institution, and she, hasn't been around him. So to see him and hear from him and hear his voice, brought her back 3 years immediately, right after. And of course, talking about the destruction of the home, what she did, destroying the family, just murdering the children. So yeah, very upsetting, disruptive, set her back for sure. I'm sure she probably needed extra sedatives that evening, no doubt, when she went back. And then the base of it all, I have 5 of Swords reversed. Yeah, so this is anger, betrayal. She feels betrayed by him, and she's very angry and unhappy with the whole situation. And of course she betrayed him, but it's just it's a very unhappy card here. The card of often think of bullying here with this card, and of course she's like the most hated woman in the world right now, so dealing with that. And also defeated, like she feels defeated because of course now she's the bad guy and he's the victim, the hero. Everybody feels bad for him and everyone hates her. So she's feeling like, wow, she may have killed the children. He conquered, he's conquered, he's won, whatever in life, basically, even though from her doing what she did, which was wrong, of course, and violent and out of control. So how did she know he was going to be there that moment? Did she see it coming? The hangman, yes, the victim here. So she knew. I don't think she knew exactly when, if he would really be showing up at that moment. But she knew he was coming, and it's been a long time. The hangman is like kind of like waiting and seeing things from a new perspective and being distant. And they had been very distant from each other. She was wondering how it would be seeing him again. Like she didn't know that so much has changed, right? The entire relationship is just, the entire family was just decimated in one night like that. And, so I think she was, realizing that he was going to be the big victim, seen as the big victim, basically. And he is, in this scenario. So she knew that going in. She knew that he was the victim and she was going to be, the villain here. And she is, right, from what happened. But she's trying to play the victim with the defense, saying that she was mentally ill and didn't really understand the wrongfulness of her actions. And that's what the whole trial is about. So anyways, what was she expecting from seeing her husband there? What was she expecting? Oh, I got 9 of Swords reversed. Again, very painful cards here. So yeah, she expected it to be very upsetting and nightmarish. and haunting. You know, you can see the white light of death basically up there, talking about the deaths of their children. And I see this, you can see this is an excess of. So she knew it was going to be the worst. I mean, Nine of Swords is just, you know, besides the Ten of Swords, as bad as it's going to get as far as how this is like one individual, you know, reliving this nightmare, and for both of them, right? And so she knew it was going to be, you know, very difficult for both of them, and nightmarish, and she's going to be haunted by it. It still is, I'm sure. So what does she dislike most about seeing him in court today? What was the worst for her? Ace of Cups reversed, another ace. You know, ace is very powerful. A lot of emotion here. A lot going on, spoken and unspoken between them. And of course, this is also about life, you know, babies, new life. And he's moved on. He has a new life, and he has a new baby. But she will never have that again, it looks like. I mean, I think she possibly could but she would have to get out of the hospital. I mean, she's already 36, 37. Yeah, she's not going to get out of the hospital in time like, it's over for her. So his life, he started a new life, and her life is like completely over. And that's very painful for her to see. And no, and they didn't ask him about that on the stand, of course. It's all about the night of the crime, but she's, of course, well aware of it. And she knows that everybody else knows about it, that he's moved on, he has a new life. I mean, it's really, the contrast couldn't be more in between the directions of their lives have taken. She's gone completely down, 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 and he's going back up, 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 right? So what did she like about seeing him again in court? Strength. Okay. So I think that she felt that I think she felt that, you know, there was something there between the two of them. He's still standing by her side. Okay. So she's like the lion here, and he can be like the woman here, and the angel, or I think it's an angel with wings. Yeah. In this one, she likes that he's standing by her side, because he is, even though he's not staying married to her, he is defending her and saying she's a victim. She's not a bad person. You know, as many, 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 many out there think she's a psychopath and a murderer and this and that. And he's like, no, she's a victim of being overly medicated, and he's still standing by that. Some suspect he's doing that because he has lawsuits pending against the doctors that treated her. So whatever the case may be, she does really appreciate that he's standing by her side. So there's that bond they still have, that he is not bad-mouthing her. He's not insulting her. He gets angry when people speak negatively of her. And she really appreciates that. You know, it's her one savings grace in all of this, because she knows how hated she is. And she knows everybody sympathizes with him. He's the victim. And, but, you know, he is standing by her side and saying, no, she's a victim too, you know. So how does she think of him? How does she see him right now? How does he affect her? Ooh, King of Swords reversed. Wow, Slayer here. So she sees him as very cold, sharp, uncaring, like not even trying to keep it together at all. From her perspective, you know, most people are like, yeah, I get away. But she sees him as a, you know, King of Swords reversed, very angry at her, obviously not talking to her, reversed. He's not having anything to do with her. He's very angry at her, because even though publicly he stands by her side and tells the news that, and interviewers that, towards her, he's not speaking to her. He doesn't visit her. He doesn't talk to her. He wouldn't even basically look at her in the courtroom, barely. So he basically wants nothing to do with her. So very angry towards her, very silent, angry wall there. So there is a lot of hostility that he has towards her from her perspective. So there's no chance of, even though he's remarried, there's no no, and perhaps he has to do that to preserve himself, to protect himself, because otherwise he might be tempted to go back to her. And so yeah, so there's no communication, there's nothing, no relationship whatsoever, and he cuts her off and doesn't communicate. So she probably has written to him or whatnot, but he's not. It looks like he's not having it. So, what does she do afterwards after seeing him in court? And yeah, there you have it. Knight of Wands reverse. Yeah, she lost it afterwards. She definitely lost it. Big drama, big meltdown here. She's probably wailing and screaming and upset here. After she got out of the limelight, out of the media circus, when she had her own private time, that's when she would have a big meltdown there and be very angry with herself, obviously, and just with everything going on and just having a very difficult time. So very angry and probably having a temper tantrum when she got back. No doubt it's going to be very difficult. And in the long term, I see the Hermit. Wow, the Hermit. Yeah. So after that, after she gets through with this in the long term, she's going to be a very lonely person by herself. And not totally by herself. She's going to be she's going to be isolated from society. She's going to be constantly monitored. She's going to be locked away, basically, in an insane asylum, living the life of a hermit for the rest of her life. Her best of her life is behind her, and she's got nothing to look forward to but being locked up in solitude there. She is very famous, though, after all this, so there's that. So I'm sure you'll probably be hearing more from her. Some are saying she'll come out later and try to help investigators understand why she did what she did, and et cetera, postpartum depression and all of that. Whether or not, whatever you want to believe, that's the case. That's the medications that she was under, how that's, maybe that's going to change some laws or change the way. It is changing the way. I hear a lot of people talking about their bad experiences with, psychiatric medications and whatnot. And so I think this case being so gruesome and involving such innocent little victims is going to change things for the positive in some way. So that's why a hermit upright, experts in that field, I think, and are going to, could lead to some major changes there for the benefit of everyone in society after this. It takes a case like this sometimes to make some much needed changes. And it finally happens because of something like this. So there is still some positivity. Unlike Harry and Meghan, where there's nothing positive from them, what could actually lead, it looks like with the hermit upright, it's going to lead to something positive for society at the end of the day, even if her life is going to be left in solitude and basically alone. Yeah. Really rough. A lot of rough cards here with the Nine of Swords, Ace of Swords reverse, Tower, and a lot of cups and swords. Cups, very emotional. Swords, anger, defeat, being destroyed, being cut off. Harshness, lack of communication, lack of understanding of, between them. Yeah, just no connection whatsoever. Yeah. So, very tough day for Lindsay with her trial today. It was only day one. So we got 6 to 8 more weeks to go. So, but that's how it was for her. So let's take a look at Patrick. Patrick didn't seem to get, he kept his emotions in check, except when it started talking about the children. You could see he was getting choked up. He was hyperventilating a little bit. But about when they asked him about his wife, he was just kind of very, kept, not really caring, not really, you could tell he was just answering, being very factual, not caring about her anymore, or at least not showing it. It seems, from my opinion. So let's see, how did he feel? How did Patrick feel? I'm gonna throw some cards. Let's see if I do it that way. I don't know if these cards are good jumpers or not. But how did Patrick feel? And seeing Lindsay, how did he feel? Okay. Oh, 5 of Swords, a 5 of Air, So again, this repetition of 5. Yeah, he was like, I am not going to even give her the time of day. It was like, I'm coming in, doing my testimony, and I'm out, and he won't even look at her. It was like very kind of, I'm here because I have to be, not to see you, take that a bit. It's his little bit of revenge, he's pretty much already gotten revenge by getting remarried and everything else. So I kind of think it might be a little bit of a revenge thing, which is why it's like, don't know if it's such a good idea to get married so quick, but some people don't think it's so quick. But anyways, he's still angry at her, obviously, and wanted to get through it, do the testimony, and do what he needed to do and get out. Oh yeah. And here we got the Hanged Man again. Look at that, reversed. He feels like he's the victim, and he's being put on the world stage here, which he's very uncomfortable with, by the way. He's like a tech guy, so you can tell that he's not someone that wants to be the center of attention and giving testimony for the world to watch. He's very uncomfortable with all this, and he's very angry at her for doing this to him. Besides killing his children, now he's on the world stage, which he hates doing, with reporters bothering him and his family, and not being left alone, and everybody on social media talking about it, like me and everyone else. This is the biggest trial of the summer, and it's such a gruesome one. So yeah, so he blames her for that naturally, but he is the victim here, and so he's doing his basically the major arcana like on the world stage, and this is all on the world stage. So he's there, doing his victim impact statements basically. At the bottom of it all, oh, look at that 9 of Wands. So just hanging in there, like really worn out, but almost at the end. He can't wait for this to be over. He's like, this is the last thing I have to do. Last time I have to see her. Basically this week he has to see her for a few days, as long as he's giving testimony. But he's worn out. He's like, he's hanging in there, but he's like, this is it. I'm done after this, 9 of Wands. Yeah, he's like, this is the last hurrah. After this, he's just moving forward and done with it, finished. So how did he feel? How did he think it was going to be seeing Lindsay again? I get, 10 of Swords. Yeah, it's really over. And he's like, it's done. Yeah, you can see this in this card. You see how it's like an angel there, right? And the angel is looking up and seeing these feathers. The feathers I think belong to the other angel that's like been killed, and the feathers are just dropping. So she's dead to him, and he's just looking at her. It doesn't want to see her again. Doesn't going to talk to her. It's over. It's really over, and he's still angry, obviously. Even though he's going to publicly support her, he's done with her. He's really done with her. And how was he expecting it to be? How was he expecting it to be seeing her again? What was he expecting? Moon. Oh yeah, he was expecting to lose it. He's a bit fearful. He didn't know how he was going to react, and he didn't want to get overly emotional. And he knew the media was going to go nuts over it, make a big deal about it. And he knew, like, she's cuckoo. He's like, he didn't know what to think. She's going to be crazy because she's been living in a mental institution. She's no doubt taking a lot of medications. So big, of course, again on the world stage. So he knew it was going to be crazy. He knew this was going to be the high point of the trial. Everybody's going to be talking about it and watching him and watching her. And the cameras did go back and forth a bit. Yeah, and I also got the Hermit. He's been far away from her. She's been far away from him, Messenger of Air, which is like Knight of Swords. So yeah, he was gonna be seeing her. He knew she's been locked away like a hermit. And she's gonna continue to be locked away as a hermit, because I've got the Hermit at the end of her reading. So he knew that she was gonna be, he knew that he was gonna like run away from her and not talk to her, like here and not speak to her, ignore her, and see how crazy she gets with it. And he assumed she would be crazier than ever and more, isolated than ever. And, he expected to be very angry and maybe say, with her. That was it. Yeah, I think he has no more emotions for her. I'm getting a lot of swords here. Yeah, I mean, swords and swords and swords. I mean, he's very angry with her still. Yeah. So, what was the worst thing for him about seeing her again? What was the worst thing for him? And I've got patience. Patience. Yeah, I think number one, that it's taken so long. And he's had to be very patient with everything, getting justice. I mean, this trial took 3 years to start. And with everything else, every step of the way has been the wheels of justice move very slowly. And the trial is going to be 6 to 8 weeks. It's going to take so long. And he hates how long all of this takes and just wants to be done with it already. He's moved on already. So he hates having to be so patient with everything and having to. And this could also literally mean he hates that she's a patient in a mental institution as well. Like, he's not thrilled about that. What did he like about it? Transformation. This is the death card. This is what he likes. It's over. I mean, obviously he's not liking that his children are dead. He's liking that he's done with her. His relationship, his marriage with her is dead. He's remarried. So he did like that he went back to court. I think he wanted to make sure the next time he saw her, I think this remarriage was a bit of a revenge. Because I've got like the 10 of swords, like it's done. It's really done. And the 5 of swords being like, take that. How do you like that? I get that kind of vibe with him being remarried. Like, it's really done. I wanted to come here as a remarried man with a baby and say, yeah, what we had is ancient history. I'm more than beyond over. Like, he wanted to, in an unspoken way, but in a very solid, reality way. I mean, you can't be any more real than being remarried and having a new baby. So, yeah, it's over. She's dead to him. Without saying it to her, right? Because obviously if he said anything, it would go right back to the doctors and he would get in trouble. You can't be saying that to, a fragile woman who's medicated and whatnot. But he was sending that message to her in a very unspoken but very clear way. How did he see her now? How did she? So she saw him as King of Swords reversed, as a very angry but intelligent and man who's wouldn't even talk to her, very, and in charge here. Like, he's took charge of his life and he's gone. He doesn't need anything from her. So how does he see her now? How does he see her? And then we got here 3 of coins. Someone who's got a lot of work to do. And King of Water, I kind of got sideways, so I can see that reverse probably. And this is someone who is, reversed. Is somebody who's deceptive and emotionally manipulative and doesn't speak. She's not speaking during this trial. She says nothing. And maybe a little cuckoo, the King of Wands reversed. I think she feels, okay, so she's being quiet and she's out of her mind, basically, drugged to the gills with whatever pharmaceuticals she's on. And she's being represented by the defense attorney who's an expert and working on winning this case, to keep her out of prison and instead allow her to go to a mental hospital, which would be easier on her. So he sees her as, this completely mentally, emotionally unhinged woman being expertly guided by a good lawyer. So Yeah, so he still sees her as, just a mess, an emotional mess, someone who's really needs help figuring out what's wrong with them. Yeah, so what's he gonna do next? What did he do after seeing her in court today? What was his reaction? What did he do afterwards? Oh, look at that world reversed. He wait and watched and saw the world's press. Everybody's talking about it. And he's looking at it and watching it and seeing his performance on TV and on the world stage. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like this attention. Like I said, he's a tech guy. He's not, high priestess. Yeah, going into hiding, not saying anything to any press, and lurking. I think he's doing a lot of lurking for sure online in the Reddit boards. And 10 of coins. And he's spending time with his family, but also figuring out, he's got a civil lawsuit coming up this fall, I believe, where he's suing the doctors for over medicating her. And he looks to be making money from that, possibly. So I think he's focused on that for sure as well. But as of right now, I think he's just spending time with his family and being quiet and watching the news and being very unhappy being on the world's news. So in the long term, and he's no doubt with his new wife and family. Oh, in the long term, oh my goodness, look at that 10 of Cups upright. So in the long term, he's going to be very happy and finally have that completed family and happiness, fulfillment that he's wanted. Yeah, he's definitely the winner in the end here. He's going to lead a happy life. And it's going to be a very quiet life, like out of the limelight. He's not going to 6 of wands or 6 of fire reversed. He's going to be trying to escape the attention. He doesn't like this too much attention here. So his life is going to be just fine. He's going to be very happy, fulfilled with his new family and laying low from the media. Yeah, and out of the public eye. Yeah, so he is the winner in the end, no matter how this all pans out. Yeah. So a lot easier for him, you see. It was difficult seeing her again, but he's so done with her, and I've got a couple 10s here. He's moved on to his new life, and he's complete, and she's he wasn't so tortured seeing her, because he's moved on, has a new wife and all of that, so he wasn't as tormented. She was much more tormented seeing him than she was much more tormented seeing him than he was seeing her. He's not feeling so bad, obviously, because he's got a great life. He has a happy life. He's going to go on and have more happiness and travel and spending time with his family. And yeah, and she's going to be, locked away wherever, either in prison or mental institution. So yeah, so I see the cards are I see a lot of finality with the 10s, 10 of swords, 10 of cups. I got the 10 of coins. So this is just like done. I've moved on. I have a whole new life, and I'm going to make a lot more money, and I'm going to be very happy. And then, now he's getting a lot more job and opportunities because people feel so bad for him. So he's got a lot to look forward to. Unlike her, she's got like nothing to look forward to. So yeah, wow. I mean, this experience just in the end has boosted him up, and he's got all these opportunities and whatnot. And while she's, nothing, it's the worst. Everybody hates her, and she's gonna be isolated and alone. So yeah. But at least he's not bad-mouthing her. That's the one saving grace she has, is he's keeping quiet about her. He's not sitting around bitching about her and saying, "Oh, that woman, I never should have married her," this, that, or the other. Like, he's not a bitter, vindictive man that way. He obviously is very upset and unhappy with her, but he's not petty. He's not going to dish the dirt online to people about her. He's not bitching about her. or anything. He's still saying, no, she's a victim. You should forgive her like I did and don't be hating on her. I think he's very uncomfortable with all the hate towards her, I'm sure. And it's obvious that's obviously the case. So a very good man at the end of the day. You know, he's keeping a positive attitude and not dwelling on the negativity. Especially given what's happened with his children, or taking his children like that. That's quite astounding, right? So there you have it. So I hope you found this interesting. If so, please like and subscribe. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.